We are back! That's right, Hack Hunter has been away for a little bit. So sorry to all of you that have been messaging, wondering where we've gone, but we're back now, and we're here to expose some of the worst tattoo artists in a city near you. So stick around. This week we're heading out to Biddeford, Maine, and we're going to be talking about the artwork of Koopa. You can find him as the owner of Koopa Creations. There they are on Facebook, or if you want to check out KoopaCreations.com. There it is, but this website has not been updated since the 90s, I don't think, you guys. So anyway, let me show you what I found. Boom! We're gonna start off with this one because, my goodness, there was a lot of cover-ups in his portfolio, and I gotta say, I was not a fan. First off, this is not super dark, looks pretty light and soft, so he was able to cover up some of it with these light tones. But man, when I zoom in on this thing, look at how scratchy some of these lines are. I'm not a fan of that when artists just kind of lightly scratch lines in there. Either put a line in there or don't, but just to put these random scratchy ones that are just gonna disappear, not a fan of that. It just shows a lot of consistency to me, and if I zoom in on the ones where he made them solid bold lines, you can see that inconsistency. It's really rough. Some places where he colored over top of lines where he wasn't supposed to. Oh man, and this blending of colors is just sort of strange to me. You can tell he was really overworking the skin in some of these areas, just bloody, messed up color fill, and yeah, not a fan so far. Then I came across another cover up here where you can obviously see what they're covering up. This client just wanted a pile of skulls, I guess, with a blacked out background. And again, if I zoom in, look at this black work here. You can clearly see it is not up to the lines. And this is something I suggest all of you clients out there, when you're looking at a tattoo artist's work, you gotta zoom in this close so you can see, are they able to fill in all the way up to their lines? Does the black work look consistent, or does it look patchy like this, where some areas are lighter, some are darker? This really goes to show you, are they overworking the skin? Do they have a consistent technique where they're working evenly and regularly and getting it all solidly filled in a clean manner, or do they kind of jump around and randomly fill it in so it ends up patchy like this? And yeah, this is what you get. You get this really kind of muddled up, patchy fill-in work if the artist doesn't take their time. And that's what I'm seeing here, and I think I've seen a lot of that in his portfolio, a lot of just rushing. Now here's one, somebody wanted to cover up this date, and this is what they covered it up with, and I'm not going to judge him on the artwork on this one per se, because maybe the client asked for this, but if I zoom in here, you can clearly see the 8, right? And that's not uncommon. If we're covering up some tattoo that had previous scarring, then it's not uncommon for it to look raised like this. But what I can give him shit for is how choppy this black work looks here. This is just, again, rushed, really low quality, fast fill-in. And then I zoom in on these lines here, you can see how kind of crooked and uneven they are, not really smooth at all. Again, he's not filling in his black up to the lines here. This is just the number one thing I see over and over again in artist portfolio where they're rushing. They're not getting that color up to the line. Besides that, I'm really not a fan of how cartoony and chintzy these trees look. They look really, really unnatural. And the squiggles in the water. How lazy can you get? That is like the easiest, cheapest water an artist could do. So yeah, not really impressive stuff here. Here's another cover-up. Somebody is covering this up. This is not an easy one to do, admittedly, but I'm still just going to give him a hard time. Very inconsistent line work again. You can see lines not connecting in places. Just really kind of strange, squiggly, quick line work. Again, this claw is not connecting where the line should be connecting. And then his color choices up here are kind of strange. And I get the feeling, just from my own experiences, the way he's overlapping yellow into these tones, it's just not going to heal that way. I'm going to guess this yellow is going to heal very patchy, just from looking at how it looks right after the tattoo is done. And also, color blending is not really something I've seen in his portfolio that came out really smooth. There was a lot of kind of just well, not really well blended color, and you can see this purple to yellow. I don't know why you would do it so cheaply like that. And then yeah, down here it's sort of strange how I just put darks and lights in different places. And then one thing, you guys have heard me complain about this before, I am not a big fan of just this really cheap lazy whites. This is kind of an old school technique. A lot of artists would just do this. You get to the end of the tattoo and then you get your white and you just put a couple of lines in there, give it a shine. And it used to impress customers enough, and so artists would get away with it. Now it just looks very lazy and old school, and you can see he's just really just put those lines of white pretty much everywhere. Doesn't really make sense. That's not really creating a light source or a glare effect. He's just kind of putting it wherever he wants to put it to kind of give it a little something extra. But look how quick and simply this was done. It doesn't even go up to the lines in these areas. It's not even like where it's supposed to be to look really clean or 3D at all. So yeah, again, just really, really rushed work, really not impressive work to me. Here's another cover-up where, yeah, you can absolutely tell where that cover-up is. All this dark shadowing right here on this cog that wouldn't be there for any other reason. So I'm not a fan of that when artists just put a new tattoo over top of it and add just a shit ton of black to make it look like it's covered up, but now the image doesn't make sense. Why is this black shadowing up here? It doesn't make any sense. And then if I really were to nitpick on his line work here, again, just all these points. Look, this one comes a little crooked here. This one does not connect at the tip. What the heck is that? This is an artist that opened his studio over 17 years ago, which means he's probably been tattooing for well over 20 years. And so when I'm seeing stuff like this where lines just don't connect, the color does not come up to the edge, the circle is definitely far from a perfect circle, it's just surprising to me that he would post work like this and take pride in it. And I did see some work in his portfolio, and I'll show you that here in a second. Some work that I was actually impressed with. Years and years ago, he was doing okay, decent artwork that I would not be complaining about today. But then when I'm seeing stuff like this, where he's covering up this stuff with just the goofiest looking designs, these are just kind of lazy designs to me. The shadowing up here, obviously he had a hard time doing the light gray shading, so it's just beat up, irritated skin. That's not light gray shading, that's just red, irritated skin. And so he's much better at just filling in large chunks of black, but he's not really good at doing the soft gray shading that comes after that. And these roses, there's no real depth or dimension to them. There should be darker shadows in here to show that it's a 3D rose with shadowing and with a light source. But again, his fill-in is just so haphazard. How randomly he's filled in these yellow patches and that white line work, that light edging. It's just very disappointing to me. Really, really old school technique here with the artwork, and I did not see much in the way of improving over those 17 years. Here's one that I almost wanted to give him props for, but then when I start to zoom in on areas like the claws on the owl here, oh boy, those are botched. The color work on these orbs or these bubbles, again, it doesn't even come up to the line, and it's far from a circle. And then her necklace, oh boy, again, the color's not coming up to the line there, and this is just some butchered line work, random squiggly line work, not a fan. The face too, when you zoom in, you can start to see all the hair on the client's leg here that he was obviously tattooing over it for hours. Take a second, get your razor back out, clean up that hair you didn't shave properly the first time. I can't believe artists do this. They tattoo over it for hours and just don't take the time to shave it. Here's another one where I thought it was maybe a little more decent, didn't want to give him a hard time for it, but when I really zoom in on these small details, you can see how squiggly those lines are. Again, the white's not really coming up to the crisp edge there. He's having trouble with his needle control for sure. The details up here in this samurai warrior's cloak here, the arms, they're just, that wrist is just jacked. The sword is jacked. Oh man, so yeah, small details, definitely not his forte. Guys, if you want to go check it out for yourself, KoopaCreations.com or his Facebook page, Koopa Creations, and look at this. They actually have some decent artists there. This is looking like some much cleaner work. So I want to say that this does not go against all the artists there. I checked out a lot of them. But when you're talking about Koopa's work, he absolutely goes on my hack list. Let me know what you guys think of his artwork down below. And if you have any good recommendations for artists out there in Biddeford, Maine, let me know down in the comments below. All right, that's it for this one, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.